Pattern making can be very time consuming, but there are a few things that have actually helped me over the years to reduce the time I spend in pattern making, to make it really quick, to make it easy, and also to make it interesting. So besties, I'm sure you really want to know these things. Now, if you're a beginner just starting to learn pattern making, or even if you're an advanced student, I'm sure you will get one or two things from this video tutorial. So I'm going to be sharing the things I use, or the things that have helped me to actually make pattern making very quick and easy. So without saying so much, let's delve into it. Now, the first thing that has helped me is getting the right tools. So I encourage you to please invest in your tools. Now I'm going to be showing you what these tools are. They are basic tools that you see around, a little pricey though, but they will change your pattern making journey for good. They will shorten it actually. So the first thing I actually have here is my French curves. So these are my French curves. Now you don't need to have the 3 of these. If you're low on budget, you can have just one of it is fine. In fact, among these 3, it is really one of it that I use the most. Maybe in my videos you must have seen me using this. This is the one I actually use the most. Now the reason why I use this the most is because this part here, it is not very sharp. The curve here is not very sharp, and I can also use it to add seam allowance very quickly. So that's why you see me using this almost all the time in my pattern drafting. Now you can get any one of these. Now again, if you are tight on budget, you can actually go ahead to buy this one. This one is the Pattern Master. Now the good thing about this one is because it also have this curve here that you can use for all of these curve rulers. You can use them for drawing your armhole curves, your neckline, your hip curves, and all of that. In fact, all the curves in pattern making that you're drafting, this Pattern Master can help you to do that. Now the good thing about this is it also has this straight part that you can use for drawing your straight lines, and it's also graded as well. So you could see, though mine are a little bit faint now because I've been using this for years and years, so you could see that they are graded in centimeters, so they can also help you to add seam allowance, draw straight lines, and some other things. Now the next thing you need is your graded ruler. This one is a very powerful tool, though it looks very small. Now if you look at this ruler, it's graded in centimeters. Some of them are graded in inches. Depending on whichever metrics you are using, you can buy that one. Now because this is a graded ruler, it helps you also to add seam allowance very quickly and to draw your straight lines. Okay, now the next thing you will need is your rotary cutter. You see this one? This one is one of my favorite tools. Now this one is the one I use for fabric, and this one is the one I use for paper. Now you can actually use any one. I just bought a smaller one for paper. It's a little bit pricey though, but it will actually reduce your pattern making time. Now instead of using scissors to cut through your papers or to cut through all the corners that may be difficult, you can actually use any of these to just cut through your paper very, very quickly. And when you're cutting your fabric, the rotary cutter, it's very, 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 very quick as against using scissors. Some people may argue that, although, but this is what has made mine very, very quick, and that's why I'm sharing them with you. Now you don't need to buy several of these rotary cutters. You can buy blades. I also have blades that I just interchange whenever this blade is dull. Okay, that's the blade here. Whenever this blade is dull, is not sharp again, I just loosen it and change it and put another blade, so I don't have to continuously buy different rotary or several rotary cutters. Okay, but mind you, please do not use the one for fabric to cut paper. If you use them, your blade is going to get blunt very well. It's just like the scissors as well. When you use a fabric scissors for cutting paper, you know what happens, right? So you need 2 of these. And also remember that when you're using this, you will need a mat. a healing mat, because you cannot use this on your table or on the floor. So you will need a mat to cut it on. Now in my tutorials, I'm sure you've been seeing me cutting on my mat, so you will need one of those mats. Okay, a little pricey though, but it will save you a lot of stress. Okay, now the next thing I also like to use is my Scotch tape. You see this Scotch tape? This Scotch tape, the reason why I like this is because when I'm drafting my patterns and I need to stick some of my patterns together, I can use this very well. Now when you make a mistake and you pull this off, it doesn't pull your papers. It just goes off very nicely as against other type of tapes. So if you can, please, I advise that you buy a Scotch tape. Plus you can also write on it with pencil. It doesn't go off. Okay, so all of these things you can get them from any of this sewing shop that sells sewing notions or sewing accessories, or you can get them from Amazon. Most of them I got them from Amazon. So depending on where you stay, you can get them from a local shop or a local vendor on Instagram. Now the next thing that has helped me to draft patterns very quickly is my pattern paper. Now you see my pattern papers, whenever I buy pattern papers, I buy them in roll like this. You see? Now the reason why I buy in roll is sometimes when I'm creating patterns for very large garments, maybe like a long dress or something like that, I just have to roll this out and then use it. It's a lot quicker. Now if I have to buy in sheets, then I have to stick all of them together so that it'll be wide enough for me to create patterns. You see, this one has saved my life a lot. Now this one is a little bit difficult for you to find in many places, but you can easily get them in art shops, or you can get them in stationery shops. So that's where I get mine from. Okay, and then again you can get them from Amazon. Now this is my white pattern paper. Now whenever I want to trace my patterns from my white paper using a tracing paper, the one that is a little bit transparent, is it transparent that is the word? Anyway, the one that you can see through, that's what I mean. So I use my tracing paper. Again, my tracing paper, I buy it in a roll. Oops, this is quite heavy because this is a new roll. You can see it is a little bit see-through, the see-through paper. So you see this one, I just place it over the white paper and then trace out whatever thing I want to trace, making it really very quick for me. Okay, now if you find the tracing paper difficult to get, although you can still get it from Amazon or other stationery shops, you can use your serrated tracing wheel. You see this small tool? This is small but powerful. Now you can trace your patterns. You can place your white paper under your patterns and then use the serrated tracing wheel to trace it out. When you trace it out, it will have holes on the pattern, so on the paper rather, and then you can trace out those holes. Then you have your pattern. Okay, this is very, very handy. You can also use this to easily transfer your darts as well, or other markings. Okay, so this is a very powerful tool, the tracing wheel. So we are done with the tools that I use regularly, although there are other tools, but these are the basic tools that I use almost every day when I draft patterns. Now I want to show you another thing that has also reduced my time for pattern making, and that has also made it really very easy. Okay, and that is a set of blocks. Now what do I mean by set of blocks? Let me show you one after the other. Now you see this one, this is my skirt block. You see, so once you finish drafting your skirt block, please transfer it into hard cardboards like this, or oak tack. You see, this thing is going to reduce your pattern making time like more than 60%, because once you have this skirt block, instead of putting your measurements every time you want to draft a skirt, you can just trace this out. I'm sure in many of my videos you have seen that I really don't start pattern making from the very scratch, where you have to measure your hip line, your waistline, your this, your that. It takes so much time. once you've done your skirt block, put them in a hard cardboard so that you just anytime you want to make any skirt, you take your skirt block and then you trace it out on your pattern paper, and then you start manipulating it to create any pattern of your choice, any style of your choice, adding line, adding fullness, adding other things that you want to add to make your style. It makes it very, very, very quick. In fact, this one cannot be overemphasized. This is very, very important. Now this is my skirt block. It goes the same way for my bodice block as well. Now these are my bodice block. I use this almost every day to draft my patterns. Now with this skirt block or bodice block, when you finish drafting them, you need to fit them. Another good thing that this thing does is once you have fitted your blocks, like for example the skirt block or the bodice block, now you know that whatever style you are making, it will reduce fitting problems. You may not need to even adjust anything depending on the style you are making, because you have already fitted these ones and they fit very well. Now if you are thinking, how do I get these blocks? Well, I have a tutorial here on YouTube where I have shown how to draft this block using your measurements. I've done tutorial on how to draft the bodice block, the skirt block, and even the sleeve block. I've shown the tutorial on how to do all of this. Now take your time and really do this. It will save you a lot of stress. Trust me on this one. It will save you a lot of stress. I've been using this block for so long, for so many years, especially if you're one person who doesn't fluctuate in your size. Then you can keep this and reuse it as many times as you like. It goes the same way for your pants block as well. So you see, these are my pants blocks. I also have my pant blocks ready. I've fitted them as well. And I even have blocks for jackets. So when I'm making jackets, I don't have to start from scratch. I use my jacket block and my sleeve block. Now, even when I'm making clothes for stretch, using stretch fabrics, I also have blocks for my stretch. Now, I've also done a tutorial on YouTube here. I'm going to link it in the description box below. I've shown a tutorial where you can actually make a dartless block that you can use for your stretch whenever you're using stretch fabrics. Okay, so you see, I'm showing you a family of blocks, and I even have blocks for corsets. You see, these are my corset blocks. So you see, these are the things that makes pattern making very, very, very easy. You know, I will always tell you the things I do that makes my life easy. So if you want your pattern making to be very easy and quick and interesting so that you don't get frustrated, please take our time to make these different blocks. They take a little bit of time, but they will save you time overall when you start using them to create different styles. I mean, I see a lot of people when they want to create patterns for maybe a particular style, they have to start from scratch. The bust measurement, you put your bust, you put your hip, you put your armhole. I mean, it takes you a chunk of your time every time. Imagine every time you want to make a skirt, you have to impute your measurement. Every time you want to make a dress or a top, you have to impute your measurement. When you can just easily use your bodice block or your skirt block or your corset block. Think about it. This makes your life really easy. Over the years, I've seen how this has helped me, and that's why I've taken out my time to make a family of blocks. Now, if you want to have a family of blocks like me, don't worry, I have all of these blocks in my online school. You can just click the link in the description box below to join my online school. You will see that this family of blocks, you will make them, and then I'll personally help you to fit these blocks. Okay, and then once you fit this block, there are also a lot of tutorials that shows you how to use these blocks to create different patterns or to create different styles. So these are a few things I do that actually make my pattern making very, very quick. Would you want to try them out? Please let me know in the comment section. And if you found this video helpful, please do not hesitate to share with your sewing buddies, okay? Let all of us learn together, okay? And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do well to subscribe. Please, as always, leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me hear your thoughts on this tutorial. Now, if you have other things that has also helped you to reduce your pattern making time, please do not hesitate to share. All right, we are all learning. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you again in my next class. Bye bye.